It's another episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. We welcome a 2022 NHL Draft prospect onto our show. We have a great conversation with him. You are not going to want to miss it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn Leonio. That's Carl Pavlak right beside me. On today's episode of Locked On Coyotes, we have a fantastic episode for you today. We had the opportunity to speak with a 2022 NHL Draft prospect, defenseman from the Victoria Royals, Wyatt Wilson. We're going to talk to that. We're going to get to that in just a moment. First, I want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Like I said in a little bit, we are going to hear from Wyatt Wilson. We have an interview with them, I thought it's definitely a good interview, Carl.
Absolutely. Wyatt Wilson is kind of just talking to him, he seemed like the quintessential Saskatoon hockey player, like extremely humble, like said all of the right things, like both on ice and off ice, all about improving his leadership, improving his game. Just a great person to talk to. Seems like a phenomenal human being. Definitely going to be a person to watch just, in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. We really enjoyed talking with him, and we want to go ahead and toss it right now so you guys can go ahead and enjoy our conversation with, once again, defenseman from the Victoria Royals, Wyatt Wilson. It is time now to welcome our guest here on Locked On Coyotes. We have a very special guest, a eligible player in the 2022 NHL entry draft, Wyatt Wilson from the Victoria Royals. Wyatt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well,
happy to have you.
Yeah, it's great to have you. We're enjoying our summers. Hope you're enjoying over there. How's the weather in Saskatchewan?
It's pretty nice right now. Actually, right now it's raining, but it's starting to get hot. I mean, we're 35 degrees this past weekend, so it's starting to get nice, which is good.
So 35 degrees for our American listeners, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Always need to make that. You are surprisingly hotter than I thought, because that is just a couple of degrees, less than Arizona, and we are experiencing a major heat wave right now. So I was not expecting it to be that high.
Yeah, it actually gets pretty hot here in the summers. People don't realize how hot it gets. Some days you got to stay inside. I'm sure it's the same there, but
So at least you would be used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess a couple things, and also this go is first. Have you been following the Stanley Cup final? Do you have?
Yeah, I have been. I watched a little bit of that game last night, 7-0. I was a little surprised by that. That's pretty bizarre in a Stanley Cup final, especially the caliber of those two teams. It's like, holy, something's not working. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next game, I think. I don't really have a favorite, though. I mean, they're both pretty skilled teams. Obviously, Colorado's the favorite right now, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I remember reading a lot of stats and people being like, Tampa Bay starts slow, but they tend to bounce back. And then they just came out and, dropped it 7-0, and you're like, oh, wow. That was not the bounce back I was expecting.
Yeah, definitely caught some people off guard for sure.
Absolutely. So let's get a little bit into you and the stuff that you've done. You just had your most recent season at the Victoria Royals. How did that go? How did you feel about that?
Yeah, it was definitely an up and down season. We had a really, really good group of guys. I mean, worlds were really good to, the young guys, the 16, 17-year-olds. And we were a young team. So the next few years, next year we're going to be a super, super deep and talented team. So hopefully make a good run. But myself, I ran into a little bit of injury trouble there. broke my orbital bone and shattered my cheek in like 9 places. So that put me out for like 17, 18 games. But you know, you learn how to bounce back and recover from that, and you know, come back even stronger. So.
How's the recovery doing? Is it a lot of like physical therapy? Are you mostly over it? Are you still kind of working on it?
Yeah, I'm over it. It happened about 9 or 10 games in, and it was just kind of a freak accident. A guy cut to the middle, and I kind of just took his helmet right off the face, and I was down on the ice before I knew it. But there wasn't a whole lot of, you know, therapy to go along with it. You just had to, you know, you couldn't elevate your heart rate because, you know, you have a chance of your eye socket falling out or bleeds, obviously. So your eye falling out, sorry, not your socket. But so you just kind of had to take it easy for the, 6 to 8 weeks that I was off, and just relax and watch a lot of hockey. So,
I mean, I guess you can't really complain with that, right? Watching, obviously you'd prefer to be playing and skating, but I mean, it's always nice to watch the sport.
Yeah, for sure. I went through a lot of my game clips and kind of, you know, critiqued myself in that time, and obviously, you know, helped out as much as I could at the rink, you know, whether it was, you know, saying hi to the guys and getting them in the mood and or keeping them in line sometimes. It's always nice to be around the rink still. So,
I mean, one of the things that we've talked about throughout the season, because the Coyotes dealt with so many injuries, it was a regular topic for us, was just like the ability of players to kind of like bounce back from an injury because they're doing things like you said. They're watching like the game tape. They're seeing where to improve. That they're able to focus on like that. Do you think that you like were able to do that really well? Is that something where like there was areas of your game where you're like, I should be doing this, like especially like early on in the season? That's like a good learning point, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know when I went through my game clips, I was just watching kind of the defensive zone more. I was good in the offensive zone, but you know, just picking up guys and, you know, knowing where they are and stick positioning and just really going over my defensive game while I was hurt there. So,
absolutely. Nice. Outside of that, just looking at some of the stuff that you've done with Victoria, and you had a one of your games you were a star versus the game against Kamloops. Talk about that game.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool game. My parents actually flew down for that. And it was in the second period. My little brother, we play on the same team, so he's a centerman, and he won the draw back, and the puck came to me, and I, got a shot through, and it ended up going in. So it was pretty cool. My little brother assisted my first WHL goal, and my parents were there to see it. It was a pretty special moment.
That is so like heartwarming. Like your family is involved in like every single level. That has got to be like one of the standout moments for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it couldn't have gone any better. That's for sure.
You mentioned your brother. How is that like playing alongside a sibling?
Yeah, it's good. He likes to play. I mean, we both like to play pretty rough and the hard style game. So sometimes he likes to get involved with some of the older guys in the league, the 20-year-olds, and sometimes I have to step in and help him a little bit. But other than that, no, it's pretty good. We don't fight too much, and so.
Gotcha. And for listeners at home who may not be able to tell, I have you listed at 6'3", 205 pounds. So definitely seems like a player who could help out a little brother. I know my older brother definitely was not 6'3", and was not able to provide that kind of help.
Yeah. No, it's super nice to play with him. I mean, the last time we played together was, I guess we played 5 games in midget, but the last time before that would have been like initiation. So it's easier for our parents too. I mean, they're not flying to 2 different places. So
and they don't have to worry about getting 2 jerseys and like rooting for one over the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Having to go through the split jerseys. Have you guys played? If you were to ever have to play each other, luckily they don't have to.
Yeah.
Now, Wyatt, just for the listeners and viewers, describe your game. Like, what do you think is kind of your strong points of your game?
Yeah, I like to play a two-way and physical, fast game. I like to make a good first pass, and then I take pride in defending really well. And I feel like if you defend well, opportunities jump up in the offensive zone. You can jump into the rush and find that extra seam as a fourth forward. So I like to be hard on other guys' top players. I know this year I line matched quite a few top lines, and playing against, you get so much better because you're playing against first rounders and second rounders and guys that are drafted and signed in the NHL. It was an experience for sure.
Also been
Nice.
pretty described as as fairly physical, and something that's been a major point of discussion here on our show is that's something that fits the bill of what the Coyotes want in their players. Just talk about that, just like that, the physicality and just like that part of the game.
Yeah, I love to play physical, obviously, because it's a huge adrenaline rush. And I mean, there's not a ton of guys anymore that are physical and play two-way games and are able to skate. I mean, you have to be able to skate, and I feel like I'm a pretty strong skater. But just you can change the game just like that with a massive hit, or guys get scared of you, and then it opens up room for your forward. So I feel like a big physical guy like me can definitely help out a team.
Yeah, I know. I know. I love seeing physical players in there every now and then. In even now in the game, in the day and age where skill is like is supposed to be everything. So when we get physicality in there, I'm like,
Yeah, for sure.
we're talking of Wyatt Wilson, defenseman from the Victoria Royals, on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. Hope you guys are enjoying this conversation so far. We still have a lot to get to on this interview. Before we get any more, though, we do have some house cleaning items, and I want to let you guys know about our friends from Built Bar, because they're always coming out with new flavors, and they've truly outdone themselves with the new mud pie flavor. For the first time ever, Built is including a mud pie flavor in both in both mud pie bar and mud pie puff. Not sure what it tastes like? Well, if you're a chocolate fan, you better sit down for this, because the new mud pie bar is rich whipped cream and chocolate mousse smothered in 100% real chocolate and topped with cookies and cream crumble. Just me describing that makes me hungry to try it. I got a chance to try my own, and I do have to say, you guys absolutely have to try the mud pie flavor. In both the bar and the puff, they are both absolutely phenomenal, and they're available only for a limited time. You got to visit built.com and taste the deliciousness for yourself. Not convinced? Luckily, we saved the best for last, because Built is actually good for you too. No, really, it all it is. It's really fantastic. Here are some of the nutritional info for you. It is packed with 16 grams of protein and only 150 calories and 8 grams of sugar. It's like your mom baked the most deliciously creamy chocolate mud pie and wrapped it up just for you. Once again, these mud pie Built bars and puffs are available at built.com right now, but they are going fast. So go ahead and check it out yourself. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Once again, the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
And we have an important favor to ask. We've put together a survey so we can learn more about listeners like you and about your favorite podcasts on Locked On to make them even better. This is an opportunity to tell us what you like and what you don't like about the Locked On podcast. You can go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take long, and everyone that enters and completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, you can go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Thanks for your help.
Based off of that kind of play style, is there anyone that you that you compare yourself to?
Yeah, I would say, there's a couple players. I'll go 3 players here. Seth Jones is a big frame. He moves the puck well, defends super well. And then another guy I like to compare myself to is, Jacob Trouba. Trouba's a big physical guy. He's definitely puts fear in his opponents, that's for sure, and lays some, momentum changing hits. And then the last guy is Mark Giordano. Mark's leadership on at the ice is, like no other. I mean, he's always at charity events and children's hospital and out in the community just giving back. So I feel like that's a huge part of the game nowadays too.
you mentioned you mentioned that leadership aspect, and and that's another thing too. That's a huge element. Coming to hockey. Like, what are some of the things that that you do as like that that show that example, that leadership example?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like I said, I modeled my game and off ice after Mark. Actually, this past weekend, I ran up to Regina and gave my cousin. She just got over breast cancer, so I gave her my breast cancer jersey. And I was at my school the other day, helping out with track and field. So it doesn't have to be always on the ice. I mean, obviously on the ice, I try to keep the guys focused, and when they're needed, help them out and round them up and keep them in line. And or even in the dressing room, the guys are down, we're going into a period and we're down a couple goals, it's just like, come on guys, like, let's go here. We got this. Right. So.
Yeah. And it does seem like the players who like contribute off the ice, like that translates really well to on ice leadership. So it sounds like you're doing great things, like more than I was doing when I was your age. I will readily admit that.
Yeah. Thank you.
A couple other things too. One of the things that I think that Carl and I were discussing that we wanted to ask too is because as players get ready for their draft year, obviously there are teams that ask really interesting questions, to say the least. What's the weirdest thing you've heard?
There's not too weird questions. I mean, there might have been one on Montreal's. It was something about a bank or something, robbing a bank or taking money if it was there. But, I think they just want to get to know you more on a personal level. I mean, they see you on the ice, they know what you're like on the ice. So they just want to kind of get to know your character and a little bit more about you.
Gotcha. So you told Montreal that you would rob the bank. Is that
No, I didn't. No, I honestly could never. Oh, it drives me insane. But
I mean, robbing a bank, you need leadership. It shows a determination.
Yeah.
Please don't listen to me. I've never been drafted by an NHL team. I do not think they want you to rob banks.
Yeah.
Excuse me, while I go through a bit more. Do you have anything else, Carl?
You're playing your first year with Victoria. You said that you're expecting like a much better year next year. Like the team is going to be young, hungry. Like what areas are you looking to improve your game going into the next year?
Yeah, I think my offensive side of the game is definitely one thing I'd like to improve. Finding lanes and getting shots from the point is another one. And then obviously, as a bigger guy, you always have to work on your skating. And that's something I've been working on ever since I've got home, since the season ended. I didn't even take a break. I just got right into it. So, yeah.
Nice. And I imagine you're working with like coaching and stuff to improve all that. And yeah.
Yeah. So in the next week here, I move up to Moose Jaw. It's about an hour and a half away from Swift. And I'm on the ice 5 days a week in the gym, once at least every day, maybe twice. So they have a really good facility up there for that.
Wow. And like, I mean, I imagine you're not doing too much for strength right now, but just the stats I was listing for you, like, do you need to like gain muscle or anything? Or is it mostly kind of working on like speed and like you said, the shot?
Yeah, it's mostly, speed stuff and, on ice specifics, but definitely put on, a couple pounds of muscle. I think you obviously can't get too big or you won't be able to move, but yeah, just maybe a couple pounds of muscle and just, keep working on speed in my first couple quick steps.
Nice.
Plus also, the other things to get ready for the next season. Obviously from I was reading more about Victoria. Victoria has another captain, that kid who's already been signed into an ELC and Gannon Larocque. What's it like? Playing alongside him as well, and
yeah,
training from him.
Me and Gannon were pretty much D partners the whole year. He taught me a ton. I mean, he's been to an NHL camp. He's played in the AHL a couple games, and he knows what it's all about. Whether it's recovery or pre-game meals, he does it all. So I owe a lot to him.
So does he tell you a lot of those things that he's been working on that he gives you those advice about to get ready?
Yeah, for sure. We're actually in the same agency, so we had agency camp up there last weekend, and we're always pushing each other, and it's always a competition between us too. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, we always check in on like rookie development camps and those kind of things, and it does seem like there is such a like importance of like eating right and doing things that when I first started watching hockey, people probably cared a little bit less about. But it's great to hear that you're starting young with that kind of thing. I wish I started eating healthier when I was your age.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that it's unheard of, but guys do, and it shows on the ice.
Absolutely.
I guess a couple other things too is one thing I definitely want to ask is we're within under a month until the draft. I guess overall, how are you feeling for that?
Good. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I mean, whatever happens. It's not gonna affect me. Just keep working hard and pursuing my dream, obviously. So.
Is there a team, and I don't want to necessarily put you on blast for this or have you like commit to anything. Is there a team that you think would be a great fit for you, like in terms of like just on ice or off or?
Honestly, it'd be a blessing if I went to any team. It'd be an unbelievable opportunity. I just want a chance to prove myself, and that's about it. So that's all I ask for.
Great answer.
We love it. And to put things in certain ways, I mean, hey, Arizona is one of those places. It gives a lot of those players a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I seen that new rink that just got passed. I think I forget what it's called now. Anyways, it looked unbelievable, like crazy.
Yeah, there's the college one, and there's still the planning for the big one.
Yeah.
It is a lot of minutia that hopefully you would not have to deal with if the Coyotes drafted you. Hopefully
by that point, by that point you don't have to worry too much. Like the moment you make your debut, it's like it's already ready for you.
Yeah, that'd be unreal.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like it'd be pretty cool to start your career in a brand new NHL building. Like very few players really get to say that.
Yeah. Not a lot do get to say that. That's right.
Plus, I asked you about the weather earlier. We talked about the weather here. Like, would you be looking forward at all to leaving practice in shorts and flip flops? We make that joke all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. We're pretty lucky in Victoria. I mean, it's pretty nice there all year round, but you come back home to Saskatchewan in the winters and it's negative 35, negative 40 some days. So you definitely can't leave the rink in flip flops and shorts in that weather.
Yeah, I remember when I first started talking to the Arizona State University hockey program, they would say like, yeah, we just bring kids down from Saskatchewan. And they're like, why is it 70 degrees out in winter? Like, yeah, it's just how Arizona is.
Yeah. I actually went down to Arizona for a hockey tournament the one year, and it was in middle of December, and we got there and it's like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy, unreal. But
it definitely does shock people when you come down here. It shocked me when I first moved down here a few years back. So,
and everyone we've talked to about the Coyotes draft picks have pretty much agreed that the Coyotes are not interested in rushing any kind of players. Anyone they draft is going to be needing a couple years of development. You already said you kind of want to work on your offensive aspect of the game. Is there anything like kind of like a little bit more long-term, like the next 3 years, where do you really see yourself as a player?
Yeah. I'm hopefully in 3 years playing in the AHL, developing. And, like you said, I never rush things, you make the jump when you're ready. And then, that's when you get your best outcomes. So.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, that's what we try to we try to promote. It's like we've seen prospects get rushed in the NHL, and it sometimes gives us a little hard jump. I know. Like it's just like like, are they ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a tough call because I'm sure, like, as a player, you want to be playing against the top competition. You mentioned, like, you're playing against the top line. That's where you really improve your game because you're learning, how to face the best. But, being willing to, like, go to the AHL, put in the minutes, especially as a defenseman, like, it's just a really important step and a really great way of looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can, sometimes, you want to be at that top level, but you might not get some minutes you want. So it's almost sometimes better to, drop down into the A even and, get all your minutes, improve, and then, next year make the jump to the NHL, right? So.
And the AHL is a great development league, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of alumni can, will jump from the AHL and end up becoming really, really good NHLers. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Right.
And we are seeing, like, especially more of the Western teams, like, move their AHL teams closer to kind of get players up, provide more, like, kind of hands-on support. It's not like you would have to fly out from, like, Springfield, Massachusetts a couple times a year if you get called up.
Yeah.
But other than that, so if, like, as we go through this, anything that we haven't touched on that's maybe something that you feel like you'd like to share with our listeners, with with Coyotes fans, with hockey fans out here who like that, it's like, all right, I want these people to know this is Wyatt Wilson.
Not overly though. I think I've kind of touched on everything, but like I said, I obviously be a blessing to go to any organization, whether it's Arizona or wherever. So I'm excited for what's to come, and yeah.
And last thing you got, Carl? Okay.
No, I just wanted to say, Wyatt, it was great talking to you. It sounds like you are going to be a really good player, have the right energy, the right determination. Best of luck at the draft. Hope to hear your name.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
That was our interview with Victoria Royals defenseman Wyatt Wilson. A fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed talking with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Seemed like a really good guy, and a really good player. He definitely seems like he could be a good fit for the Coyotes. Not something that we could really talk about him with him, but he definitely has a spot. The Coyotes need defensemen. They need physical defensemen. That's totally the Bill Armstrong style.
Plus, I love his mindset. Right, I love that mindset of just like, first that leadership mindset. Plus, also he's like, I just want to have that opportunity. Right, I just want to, prove that, essentially prove that he belongs in the NHL, and which I really love. And like he seems in that sense that he doesn't want to rush it either. Right, he wants to go at the pace that he feels comfortable with, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, the fact that he said that he was looking forward to the AHL, that is a very realistic view of his career. There are some players who are like, no, I want to make the jump to the NHL right away, and you don't want to say they're delusional, but that's not how their career is going to go. He had a very realistic outlook for what his next steps are, and that's very important for a player.
It is really nice to see a player that has that kind of mindset. And once again, we're super glad to have Wyatt Wilson on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
Yep.
Anyways, that is going to be it for today's episode. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your shows, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Instagram at LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. Carl Pavlak is Carl Pavlak FFH. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.